Hello.
Hi, we're Moonmill.
We're Moonmill.
I'm
Mary.
Mary. I just spilled my hot water.
Should we look in the camera?
I think you're in the camera.
I'm Mary.
I'm Kay.
And we're Moonmill.
We're Moonmill.
I can start with how it started, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, before it started. Well, I feel like, okay.
Has anyone ever seen the film Little Women by Greta Gerwig?
So this song was inspired by that, but I feel like when I say it's inspired by it, a lot of the time, like, what you would picture is, like, you watch the movie and then you're like, I'm gonna go write a song about that right now.
It's one scene from the movie.
One scene.
Where?
Amy says she'll never be a genius. And she's working on her painting and she says, you know, I've like worked my whole life at this to be good at art, but like I'm never gonna be a genius and I'm just gonna get married and I'm a woman and I can't be like a great artist.
Paris made me realize I'd never be a genius, so I'm giving up all my foolish artistic hopes. I've always known I would marry rich. Why should I be ashamed of that?
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
I always think about like the parallels in that movie between like Amy and Joe, and Amy talks about how Joe has gone off and is being a writer and is like being great.
Yeah.
And Amy doesn't think that she's ever gonna be great like that.
Joe is in New York being a writer, and I'm a failure.
That's quite a statement to make at 20.
You have so much talent.
Talent
and
isn't genius, and no amount of energy can make it so. I want to be great or nothing.
And it's a very universal relationship. I feel like everybody has that person in their life. You admire them, but then you're jealous of them, especially your sibling too. That's like, you're so close to them all the time, always seeing the way they're succeeding or failing.
I feel like most media with Little Women isn't from Amy's perspective.
That's why it's like the Greta Gerwig
exactly.
one. Because Greta like wrote Amy like a real person who like has her own like ambitions.
Yeah.
And isn't just like this younger sister who's like frivolous.
Yeah, and she's like trapped by society and the patriarchy and her sister and her expectations and her family's expectations.
And you're compared to them and you compare yourself and other people compare yourself to them. I think the way writing the song started for me was I just had this like guitar line that I was playing and I wasn't even thinking about Little Women, but I like started singing this line, Josephine, because I felt like fit with the rhythm really well, and so I came up with that first line, which is just like, Josephine, why are you so good to me?
Josephine, why are you so good to me?
And I felt like that line, like it kind of encapsulated a lot of that, like that relationship with someone, like how do you, I don't know how you feel towards me, but like you are so good to me, and like I'm struggling with like these complicated feelings about the relationship. You're singing the song, but like you're not actually saying that to them. Like you're singing the things that like you would never actually say to them.
Yeah, because most people don't do that to each other.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a quiet understanding.
So I wrote like the first verse, and then I brought it to Kay, and I was like, I feel like this is like about Little Women, like are you into that?
I was like, hell yeah.
We like watched the scene and like looked up like the dialogue of the scene, and some of the stuff in the rest of the song, like the line like ornament to finer society, were like pulled directly from that scene because it felt like there were just so many like great lines in there.
What are you gonna do with your life?
Polish up all my other talents and become an ornament to society.
Training so I could be an ornament to finer society.
From my perspective, when I was first listening to it, I didn't know it was about Little Women at all. The situation in the movie and in the song is relatable. You could listen to it, go your whole life not knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
You have songs that you listen to multiple times and you still don't really know what the full story is. And that's just a really fun layer to your relationship with the song, but also the songwriters. That was kind of the point too. Like we wanted, we didn't want to put like other names like Lori, Menu, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like I was picturing that situation exactly. I was like, I want this to be for like that listener who like doesn't know us, like finds this song like hopefully somewhere, stumbles on it, and they're like listening to it a couple times and they're like, wait.
When I first listened to it, I was like, damn, like Josephine X. Like one of y'all's exes is Josephine. And I was like, oh my god, bro, it's right there.
I'm also guilty of this, but a lot of the times I will think, oh, this is about an ex. Talking shit about someone in a song, like, oh, this person did you dirty, and most likely they're your ex. But like, no, you could do anyone dirty. You could be your sibling, you could be your sister. You have seen the worst of them, and you've grown up alongside them, any feeling you have toward that person is like so saturated.
I tried to show the worst of you and saw myself instead.
Especially the last line, you've wasted more potential than I'll ever have. It's like, you can only really say that about your sibling.
Yeah.
Who you
You've
feel
seen
that
it
way
all
toward.
the way through. Yeah.
You wasted more potential than I'll ever.
And Mary is the
Yeah.
youngest.
I am the youngest of 4 siblings. I have had people ask me like, who is this song about? Like, what is it written about? And like, I don't think like it's about, like, it's not from my perspective,
Yeah.
but like those like relationships definitely, like I definitely relate to it.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, but I even feel that way toward my younger siblings,
Yeah.
where like,
Yeah.
we all have different abilities, all different interests, and it's hard not to compare yourself, even if it doesn't make sense to.
Out of the 4 March sisters, which one do y'all associate with?
I always thought I was Jo, obviously, growing up, and I think I have a lot in common with her. Like, obviously, I'm like a writer, but I think as I've gotten older, I have related more to Amy. Jo is like a little bit more of a rule breaker,
Totally.
and I think Amy has a little bit more of that, like, trying really hard to like play by the rules and like being very like calculated. And I think I have a little bit of that.
I feel like I used to think I was a Jo, but I'm really not. I don't have as adventurous of a spirit as her. I feel like maybe Meg I'm most similar to. So.
Yeah.
Meg's the one that like gets married
Yeah.
first and kind of is like,
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
shouldn't have gotten married. Real.
There's also that devastating scene where it's like right before her wedding, and Jo is like, "Don't get married. Like, this is gonna be the end of our childhood."
Yeah.
And then it is.
The characters have like very concentrated versions of like specific qualities that we all have.
I feel like that's part of why Little Women has like been popular for so long, is that there is a little bit of those like
Yeah,
traits
yeah.
among all of us.
Yeah.